It has impacted my career in a lot of ways, especially in the past.
I've had a job where I was really struggling with my mental health, and a lot of it was work related, struggling with the pressures of the work, the pressures of the job, and I wasn't talking about it because I wasn't in a place where I felt comfortable to do that.
For me, I started doing a PGCE and I was under a lot of stress, which triggered me to have a breakdown, and I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping, I was really unwell. I went through a depressive episode.
My depression made me sleep less, made me worry more about my work, and it just kept getting worse.
You know, I always thought that having a mental health problem would mean that I was weaker, that I was, you know, somebody that could be casted away in the workplace. I was difficult. And I think I held myself back with that thought for a lot of years.
Sometimes it's harder for you to work in an area that you don't enjoy, but if you find an area that can make reasonable adjustments for you, then no, having a mental health illness shouldn't impact your career.
It hasn't really had much of an impact other than making me want to strive to help other people. My employers have been extremely supportive of that, and have actually allowed me to become a first aid for mental health trainer.
Coming to the conclusion that having a mental health diagnosis doesn't mean that I'm any less of a hard worker, it's really, really helped me.
But I look at where I am now, I'm in such a much better place. My boss is really supportive, the company as a whole is more supportive. I can go and talk to my boss about anything when I'm having a bad day or struggling with something, and he'll be supportive and kind and compassionate and helpful.
So the support I've received from my employer is good, and I know that if I have problems with my illness, I'll be able to take time off to sort it out.
I think it is so important to be in a career where you are well enough to be the best you can be, and then you can do the best job that you can do as well. So finding a career is important, but ultimately your mental health and well-being should always be your priority.
It's really hard in the workplace. It's really hard to talk to anyone about mental health, about your own mental health. But in the workplace, there's that added pressure of having to perform and having to deliver to just keep things on the straight and narrow.
The best way to start this type of thing is, especially if you don't feel like you can talk to your line manager or someone higher up straight away, is finding a colleague that you trust and that you can talk to, or writing everything down. So then when you actually go to talk to your line manager, something like that you have all your thoughts kind of ready there and you've processed it by having to write it.
I think the most important thing is to have a workplace that provides the opportunity for you to be open. I don't think it's necessarily be expected for you to openly say, oh, by the way, I am living with this. I think the workplace needs to have a real big presence in terms of health and well-being, and safe spaces for you to speak up.
But I think if you can be as honest and upfront with them, then it will certainly help you to feel better about being off work, being off sick, and it'll help your recovery for sure, because there's nothing worse than feeling like you're letting people down. So try and be honest if you can.
But talking to someone is the way forward. If you try and do it on your own or bottle it up, it's not going to get better on its own. So talking to someone, getting it out there will make a difference. You need to find someone you can trust, someone you trust at work, whether it's a colleague, a line manager, someone in HR, someone in another team, someone at work. You can just say, I'm finding it difficult at the moment.